think the best way, if you are a person out there that's looking to get into this, I think microdosing would be the best approach.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's not an easy thing to do, but being intentional and starting to look into other options, like what are some other options? You know, like you mentioned some psychedelics.
Yeah.
They can be good options
really
for a lot of people. And I think some people laugh and they're like, oh, it's funny, it's silly, it's going to get high or going to get fucked up or have some weird mushroom experience, which happens all the time, but it can be really beneficial, right?
Yeah, I think if you break it down, what like psychedelics do is they put you in a present state, right? And so you can take a little bit and they can make you just a little bit more present, a little bit more mindful, a little bit more love, a little bit less ego, a little bit more peaceful, and you can go about your day. And then from that present space, you can become aware of your behaviors that are fucking you up all the time. So, and then if you do a bunch, you can go really, really inward, obviously a much, much more present state, and do some serious work in that direction as well. I think it's a wonderful way to kind of introduce a lot of people into this space in a lot of ways, because sometimes the mind is so gnarly and it won't let them sit still in any way. I think breath work outside of plant medicine is probably the two best ways to kind of reach that state. A lot of people try to meditate and they just try to sit there and shut their brain off, which is going to be really impossible. So I think mushrooms and psychedelics in general are literally that tool to do that, to help us become self-aware. And that's what Terence McKenna was all about with, the apes going through the savannah and picking up fucking mushrooms out of fucking dung and eating it. And then they're looking at their hand for the first time.
What a cool movie that was, right? Was it a magical mushroom or something? Or
which one was that one?
That was pretty damn cool.
Was it Fantastic Fungi?
The fungi, yeah.
Terence McKenna he wrote Food of the Gods.
Okay.
And it's all about mushrooms and like the history of mushrooms and his theory of like human evolution and stuff.
If you look him up, man, there's a lot of cool stuff.
And then I think it's Paul Stamets who did Fantastic Fungi.
Okay.
So yeah, both. The book that I'm reading with Terence is a really hard book, though. I do it on audio and reading because it's pretty dense and kind of boring, but it's a lot of good information.
Yeah, it looks like DMT, the spirit molecule, was Terence McKenna.
That's another good one, too. I haven't gotten to that.
How dangerous is some of this stuff?
So far, unless you're a person who is completely unaware that you take psychedelics, I think it's the only time it maybe could be dangerous because it is a powerful hallucinogen.
Somebody just like laced something with it,
or just even a young mind. Say a person doesn't have any intentions why they're taking psychedelics, and they take a bunch of psychedelics and say they have a lot of fears. And so if you have a lot of fears and you have these fears playing in your head while you're on psychedelics, they can be a really bad time.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're a conscious person and you're aware that you're doing this work with the medicine and you want to look at your behaviors as opposed to kind of being thrown into them, I think it's a much better approach. Set and setting are important, and a loving setting where there's good energy around, and as opposed to like just taking it and going to a nightclub or something like that, and you're just, that's not a good job. That's not a good idea.
Is it a good idea to maybe let someone know, like hey, I'm going to do these mushrooms, here's where I'm at type of thing?
I recommend if you're going to do them and you would like to really do them to understand the proper benefits of them.
This clip is brought to you by Piedmontese Beef, the best beef on the planet. Use code POWER for 25% off your entire order. Enjoy the clip and enjoy your meat.
Do them with a guide or a shaman. I think those are really good ways to kind of like get into it. I never did that, but I was lucky enough to where I was like in a good space, I think mentally and physically as a person. I wasn't afraid. I think fear is a big component when you're doing these type of things. So if you have any fear within you and you're uncertain and you take these type of medicines, it can be a tough situation possibly. But if you're a person who wants to take them to heal, wants to take them to learn, and you are a little nervous, you can have a guide or a shaman be that person who holds space for you in case you have the idea that you might freak out and you know that something's there to help you. That's all you kind of need. It's almost like the placebo effect. Like there's a person in the room that is going to keep me safe, and that keeps them safe. It's not even the shaman really in a lot of ways, or the guide. It's just the idea that somebody's there.
And the first time I did mushrooms, I was very scared, but I did it with a group of people, and a lot of those people were already like, they've done mushrooms. You're just a group of friends. We went out to a beach, and they already had experience with it. So like everyone I knew was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. So everyone was chill. No one was partying or anything, but it was with the group of people that were chill, that also have done it, and that when I was like, oh shit, like they're like, you're good, dude. So it is good if you can, if you have someone that is like
good people
can make that experience so much better.
It's kind of great. No one can do anything no one can do anything other than just reassure you that you're okay.
You're not gonna die.
But like, dude, you're good. Like you're breathing, you're set, but no one can really do anything for you.
I think the best way, if you are a person out there that's looking to get into this, I think microdosing would be the best approach. 0.1, 0.2 gram. And do it with breath work, or do it by going for a nice long walk out in nature, or watch the sunset, like do something earthy or grounding. It's going to be very, very subtle. It's just going to make you a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more present. And from that, you're gonna find some awareness. You might walk away with something, and that'll feel really nice, because a lot of people are struggling from an over-analytical mind, from an overbearing ego, and their fears and insecurities are what's driving them all day long. And so how can we just quiet that down a little bit? And a microdose is a wonderful way to kind of get into it. And then eventually, when you feel more comfortable and you know what it feels like, and you know what the stuff, you can do a little bit bigger dose and do the same thing. Go watch a sunset, maybe just lay down in a nice comfortable room, have some fresh fruit ready if you get hungry or some shit like that, and just have a good time, a good playlist.
Do you feel like you needed a awakening of some kind? Like, I've known you for a little bit, but we don't know each other, and I just see you in passing at Gold's Gym years ago, and more recently we just have minimal contact, via some DMs and stuff like that. I mean, it seems like things go well for you. You seem like you're at peace, like in general. You've always kind of seemed that way, but do you feel like I guess you sought these things out, and what do you think you were searching for?
I don't think I think even though I was having these experiences, I was still very much unaware in so many ways. I would have the experiences, but I didn't look into them. I didn't really think much of them. When
you say experiences, do you mean like mushrooms, DMT, or
all
do you
of
mean
it.
like
all of it?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, up until like 3 years ago, that's when I actually became aware of self, right? Because like my definition of true self-awareness, and I've mentioned this before, is understanding that you're not the person, right? This is just my personal belief that you're not this sentient being. You're not this avatar. So you are a soul having a human experience with this sentient being. So that's my definition of self-awareness. And I didn't become self-aware until probably like 3 years ago, I would say. I became aware that like, oh my goodness, I'm a soul having a human experience, and what's that all about? And then I went into that realm with that understanding, and it really allowed me to expand my consciousness and knowledge and how all of this works, and how I can retrain my brain and retrain my person. And I look at it from a zoomed out lens, where before I was having these amazing experiences that were full of love, and I was learning, but I was just kind of like going with it. I was like a kid almost, I was just like in the moment, regurgitating anything that came to my mind, and like just like leaning into it. I remember even like before I even got into breath work, I would like random shit I would like just say in my household. I woke up one morning, and it's funny looking back on yourself that wasn't aware when you are aware, and you can kind of see like these key moments where like there's something like coming through or speaking up. And I remember I woke up one day and I get into the bathroom, like looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, it'd be a good idea. And Steph was like, what? And I'm like, probably smart to like take some heavy, deep breaths in the morning or something, like first thing when you wake up. And this before any breath work was out, Wim Hof wasn't around. And I'm like, I think that'd be smart. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, we probably don't use parts of these lungs a lot of times that are like kind of like stagnant and all like shriveled up and shit. Like we probably should be like expanding them and just doing some heavy breaths. Of course, I didn't start doing it then, but it was just like these unique things that come through sometimes. And if you're paying attention, maybe you'll lean into it. Other times, maybe not.
Guys, we're working hard over here trying to learn, trying to bring our information to you, and we need your help. A lot of you guys watching these bites aren't subscribed, so just click that red subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can see when we continue to come out with this heat. Talk to y'all later.